So Nintendo usually makes some PG friendly games and more family orientated, with only every once in a while breaking out into the more edgier side. Did they actually clickbait us with Emio the smiling man? Let's find out. So about a week ago, Nintendo showed a trailer of Emio, right? And in the trailer, there's a guy sitting there with a bag on his head, standing against the wall, and it's kind of creepy looking. The art style was beautifully done, and it just kind of, gave some eerie vibes. So with that, we think of Silent Hill, maybe Triangle Head guy, maybe Clock Tower type things, or even Resident Evil. But Resident Evil is a little more mainstream, but more of an eerie kind of horror survival game. So for Nintendo to have something like that, especially just pop up, as their IP, it's kind of like, wow, are they getting edgy or what? What makes this interesting is the fact that Nintendo has released horror games in the past. I mean, we had Resident Evil, we had Resident Evil 4, which was actually on the GameCube first before anything else. And, sometimes they'll dip their toes in the water of something a little edgy. So my first reaction was, I had two schools of thought. One was like, okay, they're making a new horror game, they're trying to push the envelope a little bit, trying to do something. But then the second thought was, well, maybe this is a precursor to the Switch 2. Maybe the Switch 2 is going to come in out the gate swinging with more of a, deeper tone and more edgier adult games. But like most people, I had no clue what they were doing. In my mind, I thought maybe they're trying to do a horror game. But what it turned out to be was Famicom Detective Club. And if you don't know what Famicom Detective Club is, it was basically text-based games with the stories. Basically, you're solving mysteries, and these games originated back on the actual original Famicom. Now, it was right around the late 80s they came out, and at the time I didn't know anything about it because, back in the day when I played Nintendo, in the US you didn't hear of Japanese games unless they transported them over. And a lot of games were transported over, like Mega Man and things like that, like big IPs that originated in Japan and then came over to the US later if they felt like it could be marketed at a US audience. So I didn't hear nothing about it. And then later on they had the Super Famicom around the 90s, late 90s, and again I never heard about it because, like I said, I wasn't interested in that type of game, so it wasn't on my radar, so I missed it. And then when I actually did hear about it, it was 2021, and they had the 2-case collection for the Switch. Okay, so that might have been a lot of people, including myself, first introduction to Famicom Detective Club type games. Well, fast forward to the present, we find out that this game that was kind of looking like a horror game is actually a text-based adventure game. And that's fine. That's totally fine. And the reason I'm talking about today is because a lot of people were pissed off about that. They felt like they got clickbaited or Nintendo led them on. I don't think so. And I mean, don't get me wrong. They had me fooled. I thought it was, going to be a horror game, and I was kind of excited about it because I like, survival horror type games. But in reality, I have to think about it. Did they say that, or did I just draw my own conclusion? I just drew my own conclusion. 15 seconds, I mean, it wasn't enough for anybody to get any information on it. It was just kind of like, well, I think, this is what the game's going to be about, and turns out it wasn't. I think it was just, at the end of the day, I think it was just Nintendo being Nintendo. Was it a clickbait? Maybe. Marketing's huge. Maybe it was. I mean, it did stir some buzz. A lot of people talked about it. It's on the radar. People are looking for it. And maybe not. Now, maybe some people are going to fall off and not play it because it's not survival horror. And what it is, people just don't want to play. But a lot of people will play it, And just to be fair, Nintendo is a company that does make, more family-oriented games than anyone else. They're real careful about what they put on their platform. But that doesn't mean that Nintendo doesn't have a host and a slew of great games. Nintendo, obviously the Switch is selling well and they're doing awesome. So that's not the crap on Nintendo. I mean, I enjoy a lot of their games, Pokemon and stuff like that. And they can say, oh, they're kid games. I enjoy them. Sue me. If you ask me, at the end of the day, I think this whole thing turned out to be just a happy accident. Or maybe not. Maybe it was marketing. But whatever it was, I think Nintendo put something out there. We wanted so bad for it to be something else. And it ended up being Famicom Detective Club. Womp womp, whatever. But that's gonna do it for this one. This video is pretty short, but I just wanted to just put my 2 cents on the whole thing. I don't feel like Nintendo, I'm not mad at Nintendo for it. I just think, hey, either good marketing or happy accident, whatever. It's just it is what it is, Nintendo being Nintendo. So, but let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Did Nintendo clickbait us? Was it a happy accident gone wrong? Were you disappointed when you found out it was just Famicom Detective Club? the jury's still out on that one. So that's gonna do it for this one, guys. As always, take care of yourself, protect your inner peace, and we'll catch you on the next one. God bless.